Most sales managers spend an enormous amount of time discussing revenue. The problem is, revenue already happened. You can explain it, but you can't change it. So here's the question worth 20 minutes of your time. Are you actually managing the business, or are you just reporting it? My name is Alex, and I'd like to welcome all system architects, builders, and problem solvers to my channel. Here, we don't just talk about better systems. We build them. Picture the monthly sales meeting. Revenue, bookings, forecast, deviations, explanations. Smart people, a full hour, real energy, spent on numbers that are already fixed. Now here's the uncomfortable part. Not one decision in that room can change a single one of them. Every number on that slide is history. Managers don't manage the revenue. They manage the system that creates revenue. And that distinction matters. Revenue is an output. Output can be measured, explained, and celebrated. But by the time you see them, they are already history. Management happens before the result. Before we start, let me make you one promise. Everything I share on this channel comes from real projects, real mistakes, and real experience. I don't care about productivity hacks or management buzzwords. I care about building systems that actually work. If every video gives you just one idea you can use on Monday morning, then we have both invested our time here very well. Enough talk. Let's get into action. Everything here on this channel runs on one method. I call it the builder's method. 4 steps. Understand, model, leverage, build. First, you understand the system as it really is. Then you model it. You make the hidden logic visible. Then you find the leverage, the one point where a small change moves everything. And only then you build. Most people straightly jump into build. We don't. We saw the same problem in the last episode on pricing. A price list is only the result of all the decisions and assumptions that came before it. Revenue works the same way. By the time we see the number, all the decisions that created it had already been made. And yet, that's where management often spends most of its time. We manage the result and leave the causes alone. I recommend to revisit my previous video about pricing strategies. So let's get practical. As a manager, what do you actually spend on the system? Not budget, not headcount. It is time. Every sales manager on earth gets the same resource, roughly 40 hours a week. Of course we work more, but this is another topic. The time you have available, I call that your management influence budget. Now split those hours into 2 kinds of work. Some of it explains yesterday. Revenue reporting, CM administration, internal reports, and firefighting. The rest improves tomorrow. Opportunity reviews, opportunity management, coaching, pipeline development, strategic customer conversations, and, of course, better qualification. Both are real work. Both are necessary. One of these deserves a footnote, forecasting. It points at tomorrow. So why is it then not clearly on the right side, but somehow in the middle? Because a forecast doesn't change tomorrow. It describes a tomorrow you haven't influenced yet. Explaining the past and predicting the future are the same kind of work. Both describe the business, neither of them actually changing it. Let me be very clear here, because this is where people may get me wrong. Reporting is not useless. You need it. A manager who can't explain the numbers is not a credible manager. This isn't an argument against reporting. It's an argument about balance. So the question is not whether you should do reporting. The question is, how much time in your week is left for the work that actually changes the outcome? In Germany, we have a wonderful word for activities that keep you busy without really moving anything forward. Beschäftigungstherapie. Or occupational therapy, work that keeps you busy without changing the outcome. Reporting is necessary, but if it dominates your week, you're spending your management time explaining the business and not improving it. Now look at your own week. You have roughly 40 hours of management time. How much of that time goes into reporting, forecasting and administration? And how much goes into opportunities, coaching and actually improving the business? That is your influence budget. How you allocate those 40 hours tells me a lot about how you manage sales. Do the test. Use this template. Be honest with yourself. How much time do you invest explaining yesterday? And how much time do you actually invest improving tomorrow? There's an older idea behind this from Stephen Covey, and it maps onto sales management almost perfectly. Covey separates two circles. The circle of concern holds everything you care about, but cannot control. Revenue, bookings, market conditions, competitors, exchange rates, supplier situation, and delivery times. Funding programs, geopolitics, economical policies, GDP, elections, new regulations, and that list keeps growing every single year. The circle of influence holds what you can actually change. The quality of your opportunities, how your people are coached, how deals get qualified, how your pipeline is built, how your team behaves in front of customers. That list is much shorter, and unlike the other one, it hasn't grown in years. Look at those two lists again, and something obvious appears. Almost everything we report on sits in the outer circle. Almost everything we can change sits in the inner circle. Your personal influence budget should follow this circle of influence. However, in most of the companies, it follows the circle of concern. Let's prove that revenue cannot be managed by asking where it comes from. Revenue was a booking. That booking was an opportunity. That opportunity was qualified or wasn't. And before that, it was a lead somebody decided to take seriously. By the time revenue shows up in your report, every decision that created it was made months ago by other people in conversations you weren't part of. If you want a different result next quarter, you have to change something today. Discussing the revenue number won't change it. You have to work on the things that create it. So if we start changing the things that create revenue, we need a way to see whether we are actually getting better. And that's where conversion rate becomes interesting. But we need to define very clearly what we are measuring. Conversion rate is not a lever. You cannot pull it. Nobody improves conversion by demanding a better conversion. Conversion rate tells you whether the things you are changing actually improving the system. Better qualification, better coaching, better opportunity management. Those are the things you can work on. And over time, you will see the result in your conversion rate. Don't manage revenue. Manage what creates revenue. Don't manage conversion. Manage what converts. So let's jump into the sales process and opportunity management here. I'm deliberately not going to define the sales stages for you. Every business has a different sales process. But whatever stages you use, you need clear definitions. Otherwise, your conversion rate tells you very little. And this starts with a very simple question. What exactly is an opportunity? So let's ask the more basic question here. When does something actually become an opportunity? In most CRMs, almost anything can. A good conversation, an interest, a quote request, maybe even a hope. And here's why that matters more than it sounds. Conversion is a ratio. Conversions divided by opportunities. If nobody agrees what belongs in the denominator, the ratio doesn't mean anything. Whether you use BANT, B-A-N-T, or 3 questions on your own, this matters far less than whether everyone draws the line in the same place. I have implemented opportunity management several times, and one thing has always been critical: a shared definition. Without it, your pipeline becomes a collection of private opinions. Your conversion rate becomes difficult to interpret, and your forecast discussions quickly turn into debates about definitions instead of discussions about the business. Now, I'm not going to walk you through the mechanics of opportunity management. That deserves its own episode. But let me give you the 4 things that, in my experience, actually move an opportunity forward. And notice something about all 4 of them. All of them require customer interaction. First, understand how the decision is actually made. Not who signs it, but what has to happen inside their organization before a yes is even possible. Get that right, and the opportunity almost moves by itself. Second, understand who really decides. Then sit down with your contact and plan the stakeholder work together. They know their own organization far better than you ever will. And they will be grateful that you do this exercise with them together. Believe me. Third, build mutual commitment. Let both sides invest something real. Time, data, access, a workshop. Shared effort creates obligation. One-sided effort creates nothing. And fourth, bring the value back. People forget why they started looking in the first place. Part of the job is reminding them what the problem was worth solving. None of this is a framework. It's what I would do and pay attention to. And we will go much deeper in a future episode. And from here, I like to jump into another common topic at sales management: the coaching factor. It usually starts with a reasonable idea. You look at your best salesperson and ask, what does she do differently? And then you find something measurable. Let's say she does a lot of demonstrations. So you conclude, our best salesperson does more demos. Let's get everyone to do more demos. It becomes a target. It goes to the CRM. And suddenly, everyone is measured against it. But there is a problem. You know that your best salesperson does more demos. You don't know whether she's successful because she does more demos. That's a completely different question. Maybe the demos really are part of the reason. Or maybe she gets more demos because she qualifies better. Maybe customers trust her more. Maybe she walks away from bad opportunities while others spend months chasing them. Copying the behavior of your best salesperson is not coaching. You have observed the correlation. You haven't understood the cause. And that's an important distinction. The job of sales management is not to make everyone sell in the same way. If someone is successful, understand what's working and be very careful before you change it. If someone is struggling, understand where the problem is and coach exactly there. Don't change what works just to create a standard. Change what doesn't work. So where does AI fit into all of this? Not where most people would put it. And this is where AI becomes really interesting for sales management. Think again about your 40-hour influence budget. Reporting, preparing forecasts, summarizing meetings, analyzing CM data. AI can already take a significant amount of that work away from us. And that means something much more valuable than better reports. It gives management time back. AI doesn't manage your team, but AI gives you more time to actually manage. So imagine AI gives you 5 hours back every week. What do you do with them? More internal meetings? More reporting? Or do you invest them in opportunity management, coaching, and improving the business? AI can give you the time back. It cannot decide how you use it. That's still management. So let me be precise about the claim. Reporting is necessary, but reporting is not management. Revenue is located in your circle of concern. Opportunities, qualification, coaching are located in your circle of influence. Conversion tells you whether your work in that inner circle is effective. And every hour you spend is a vote for either the one circle or the other. And the question I'm ending every video with: what human limitation was this management system originally designed to overcome? For sales management, the answer is uncomfortable. Reporting exists because no one could observe a commercial system continuously. So we compressed it into a monthly number and discussed that instead. That limitation is exactly the one disappearing right now. So remember this one, even if you forget everything else today. Managers don't manage revenue. They manage the system that creates revenue. Now go build something better. And in the upcoming episode, we will look at segmentation and targeting, because there's something fundamentally wrong with how we often think about it. Your segmentation is not reality. It's just a model of it. And depending on which reality you choose to model, the exact same customer can lead you to completely different strategic decisions. We will unpack that very soon. I am curious about your honest split of your last 40 hours as a manager. How many went into explaining yesterday and how many into improving tomorrow? Tell me in the comments. No judgment,